is an enabler for business success. Technology is also an enabler for HR success or business success. So in a priority context, maybe I would say that it's business, HR, technology.
Shelly, you have...
I'll answer it more technically. I think what typically happens is between technology and HR, technology takes the precedence because that's the only offering you have. And you have to change the process the way technology is actually driving it. So I think we'll have to kind of reverse the fulcrum that the HR process takes the precedence than technology. Technology is not the domain, HR is the domain. It should be servicing HR and not HR process in technology. So I think that's the shift in technology market which needs to happen.
Okay, thank you. Shelly, you talked about certain interesting aspects. You talked about the, I'm not going to repeat what you said, I'm not competent also, but just to sum it up, you talked about the ERP platforms, accuracy of data, HR analytics, and touched upon big cloud as well. And the aspect which is very interesting, saying hindsight, insight, and foresight, okay. Having said that, do you think this, the aspect of what we are talking about today, how do you balance the current realities with an aspirational state in the light of Gen Y? Do you think you find any change in this?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of interesting things happening in pockets, So, so I think we'll have to quickly leapfrog from, just an enterprise, let's say, I have no specific, anecdote right now, but, SAP and, the other enterprise platforms have only become, data recording, platforms. So we'll have to quickly think about employee to bring in that usability rather than HR thinking only about compliance. I think that's essentially will be, we'll be able to quickly leapfrog into building experience rather than, just we are at data right now, we go to efficiency and then to experience. So to go to experience, we will have to quickly bring the usability first into question. And probably, I'll have to dovetail the entire platform of ERP with much more smarter technologies. So that's how we'll be able to quickly balance them. Else, we will see a dissonance. Jeet spoke about adoption. I think that's the biggest resistance from a Gen Y employee. I think that was the difference between Facebook and some of the erstwhile platforms on social. That Facebook is able to kind of drive more adoption because it's keeping the usability at the center and not the data and the compliance at the center.
So Judith, is something to do with the mindset or is more with the generation gap? I just want to give, just to quote, still I use BlackBerry. I have iPhone, iPad, but when I've written the questions, I put it in BlackBerry. So my young friend Pankaj, who is Gen Y, he was laughing because I'm a baby boomer. I think, sometimes it's a mindset issue because I deal with doctors. They do all laparoscopy, high technology. When they ask them, we have to do a health record management services. That means the moment you enter the hospital, your record should be known till the end, integrated approach. They were not willing to do that, because it took a lot of time to HR to emphasize they're all above 50, top clinicians. No, this is no, we are not familiar with. There must someone should do it. I think this is an issue which you said. Is it something to do with the generation gap? And if so, how HR can play a role to influence to bring the change?
No, sir, I think every generation has always said that the previous generation is a dinosaur. I think this has been going on the last 5,000 years or 10,000 years, ever since human civilization existed. That's why it's so hard, because what are we saying? Culture or behavior is habit. Habit is difficult to change. So yes, and behind that is the mindset. Mindset is my belief, right? And why should I change? If I'm happy with my BlackBerry, it's giving me what I need. Why should I need to change? What is the big deal? So the question is, in my mind, somewhere there has to be a better future, or which you see, which makes it easier, and if you can make that connection, hopefully you will change. Now coming back to it, I don't think age has got anything to do with it. If you look at the biggest scientists of the world,
Yeah.
Alexander Graham Bell, he was in his 60s or 70s when he invented the telephone. So many of them. You don't hear of, yes, Mark Zuckerberg may have invented Facebook or whatever,
Yeah.
developed Facebook in his 20s. And there are a couple of them. But even if I look at Steve Jobs at the age of 50 was developing the iPhone. So it's nothing to do with age. I don't think age has got anything to do with it. It's a mindset. So I agree with you, sir. It's about how you approach technology. And I just want to make a couple of comments on the data piece. See, data must be used. I mean, at the end of the day, I cannot overemphasize that data is not relevant. I mean, data is relevant. It's about, does data lead me or data analysis lead me to an action? If I cannot make an action out of it, it's irrelevant. So what does action mean? Action mean in terms of, see, if I'm looking at the problem I see is averaging. So when I'm looking at attrition data for the country, I really don't know what it means. Fundamentally, I have to go down and say, it's gone up, it's gone down. So what does it mean? What has happened in the city of Calcutta? What has happened in the city, in the town of Pudukkottai? Right? Who is the manager who has the maximum attrition? If I can drill it down to that level, then I can say, this manager has the highest attrition. Maybe average attrition is 25%. But there is this manager who has attrition for the last 2 years of 150%. That is an actionable for me. Then I can say this manager, probably I have to investigate why this manager has poor attrition. Is it because of the ecosystem there, or is it because the manager has poor management practices? Then it's actionable insight for me. The problem is we look at data in averages at a level where we can't make comprehend what to do. I think that's the point I wanted to make. The second point is, again, MIS, we have to differentiate between MIS and predictive analytics, which is the thing about insight and foresight.
Foresight.
Right? Insight is about going and asking the question. So that needs a level of granularity. Foresight is when I am able to develop an algorithm of sort which can help me to understand. Now I want to make a point here. The point I want to make is, we struggle with it, as I said, right? I have not been able to find that perfect profile who can do wonderful insurance sales. So what has worked for us? We have said that rather than do that and going to the market and trying to hire all kinds of profiles, we will be a cadre-based company. We'll go to graduate colleges and hire. We'll go to management colleges and hire. And many of them turn out to be good successes. Right? So rather than wasting, I mean, I'm saying, because I've not been, if I can now sharpen it to say that I know exactly this person, this profile in this industry can make work for me, then it makes sense for me. Since I've not been able to do that, I've said that, okay, let's change the paradigm altogether. Let us do cadre building. We will not hire from the market. 90% of our hiring is from graduate colleges and management colleges, and we will build a company, and some of them will succeed. Whoever succeeds, succeeds. And that's great. We've not been able to find a pattern in terms of why somebody succeeded or why somebody failed. Except in terms of their liking for the job or not liking for the job.
Thank you.